Hello, welcome to the lecture series on automobile engineering. In this session, let us study about fuel injection system in compression ignition engines. In the previous session, we have studied about fuel supply system in SI engines. Both you have studied the carbureted system as well as petrol injection system. Here we'll talk about the diesel injection system. In diesel, we have two types of injection, that is direct injection, and the other one is the indirect injection. DI, IDI. Sometimes they call it as open injection. This is the direct injection system. So you can see this is the piston of the engine. Here we have recesses or troughs made in the piston head itself. Created a kind of, you can say, bowl, so that we can create swirl. So this is the injector, right? Normally we use around 20 to 22 compression ratio. So at the end of the compression, the pressure is quite high. P2 by P1 is equal to compression ratio to the power of gamma. If you make it 20 to the power of 1.4, and the pressure will be quite high here, so that into this high pressure air the fuel droplets have to pierce through. So that's why the fuel injection pressure will be quite high. Injection pressure will be quite high. Nowadays we are talking about the injection pressure in excess of 1400 bars. That's the kind of pressure we're talking about. Obviously the pump which will take the fuel and pressurizes must be able to develop such high pressures. So now the thing is, whatever fuel that we inject, that fuel should get atomized, vaporized, mixed with air, attain ignition temperature and that should ignite. And once the combustion start taking place, flue gases will be generated and they exert force on this piston. If the engine speeds are low, something like 2000 to 3000 RPM, okay, this will be all right. But if you start increasing the speed, probably mixing and attaining ignition temperature, all these things will take more time. That's why many of the times, to have efficient mixing of air with fuel, we use, and to have better mixing by creating swirl and all, so we use pre-combustion chambers. So actually the fuel is injected here first compressed air is pushed in, the air temperature and pressure will be quite high. Into this compressed air, actually the fuel is injected and this gets ignited. Then the expanding gases will start entering into the, and due to that there will be further mixing will happen. So high performance diesel engines, they use IDI, indirect injection. So ordinary engines, low speed engines, you can say, they use direct injection system. Again, in the injector also, like we have single hole injector, correct, right? Or it can be 3 hole at 120 degree each. So multiple holes, so that the spray can spread and better mixing can happen. So higher the pressure here, then better will be the atomization of the fuel. Right. So you can visit this video to understand the diesel injection process. If you see the complete diesel injection system, as we have studied earlier in petrol engine, you have the fuel tank, and this is the fuel filter. You have a lift pump, so it will raise the fuel to a slightly higher, lower to a slightly higher pressure. Then again there is a fuel filter, then it will get into an injector pump here. Okay, now the fuel is pressurized to a very high value, as I mentioned, excess of 1400 bars, and depending on the firing order, the fuel is distributed to different injectors. Fuel is injected into the cylinder. If there is a excess fuel, that will just flow back into this channel and it will flow back to the fuel tank. This is basically the system. Correct. There will be a low pressure pump, there will be a high pressure pump, there will be an injector, there will be injector for each cylinder. Right. So there are different types of injection system. One is it can be direct or indirect. To the injection system I am talking about. Individual pump and injector or jerk pump system. You see here, this is a camshaft. These are cams. Correct. Then you have the fuel. So you have individual pumps now. There's a pump and that will inject for each cylinder one pump. Okay. So such as you have to have many pumps and each pump has to be driven independently using a common camshaft like this. It has, of course, it becomes quite expensive, too many pumps, but even one pump fails, the system keeps working. That's the kind of advantage you have. Of course, to run these pumps you require a considerable amount of power. Another way of doing is the common rail system. you see here, there is a pump here, multi-cylinder HP, high pressure pump. Then you have the accumulator. Okay, the fuel enters, pressurize the fuel. Accumulator will try to maintain the constant pressure. Then from here it is distributed to individual injectors through metering and timing element. So from here it will enter into metering element, then it will meter the fuel, then it will go to the individual. But you are having a single pump over here. Another way of doing is distributor type system. Take low pressure fuel from the tank, okay, inject into and again to a high pressure pump, then pressurize the fuel, distribute it to individual injectors. So these are the modern fuel injection system that we have. Now let us understand how exactly in the system the fuel gets metered. This is basically the fuel pump, and this is the injector side of it. Inside the fuel pump you have a plunger which reciprocates. This is driven by a cam. Because of this cam rotation, the plunger will move up and down. On this housing barrel, you have a pinion, and that is driven by a rack. Okay, this rack is driven by a governor. So this whole assembly not only reciprocates, it also like rotates. You cannot say complete revolution or something like that. Like, you know, it rocks, right? Right. So when the piston is at the bottommost position, or the plunger is at the bottommost position, the fuel enters, and as the piston moves, the fuel gets compressed, its pressure increases, then through this pipeline it comes out, then it enters into the injector part. From the injector it gets injected. Okay, but how exactly it meters the right quantity of fuel depending on your requirement? Let us see this in the next figure. It is not very clear. Now you see, this is the plunger part of it. Right. Okay, we have a helical groove. Now there is a inlet fuel port. There is a spill port. Okay. Now the thing is, when the piston is at this position, from the inlet port, the fuel fills into this region, and the plunger fills into this region. Right? Also, it's here. Now, as the piston starts moving, the fuel gets pressurized and then it comes out. You can see here this region and is contact with spill port. Suppose it is moved like this, it is still uncovered the spill port. Then as the piston is moving upwards, till this point comes in contact with the spill port, the fuel will be getting injected. Moment this part comes in contact, then the fuel will start spilling out and the pressure gets released and no more pumping will happen. As I said, this plunger will be rotating. If the plunger faces this way on this side, inlet port side, and then it is reciprocating, then you will have a longer stroke. Means for a longer stroke it can keep on pumping. Suppose it made to rotate on the other side, then the stroke will be very short and the quantity of fuel injected will be less. So it all depends upon this region, how long it uncovers this spill port. It uncovers for a longer time, by chance this surface coming in contact with that, then more fuel gets injected. If by chance this portion comes in contact, because it is rotating, it comes in contact with that, only this much will be the stroke. So by rotating this, we can vary the stroke. That means the quantity of fuel that is injected. So its rotation depends upon the governor. So this will help in reciprocating, right, this cam, and again governor will help in, making it rotate around its axis. So that way it meters the fuel depending on the requirement. If more load is there, more fuel is required, then of course this face should be facing this, then the stroke length should be more. If the load is less, then the stroke length should be less. So that way we can position this, make this face the spill port, and quantity of fuel injected can be controlled. So probably if you see this sketch, this is how it is getting in like this. You see here, as the piston is moves upwards, this uncovers, then the fuel will start flowing out. If it is not uncovered, fuel will be going forward, gets pressurized, and it will go to the injector. So that's how this helical element controls the quantity of fuel injected, and that fuel comes into this channel here, then it gets collected over here. This is a mechanical injector. There is a spring here. This will be applying pressure, so it is closing this hole, nozzle hole. Now this pressure is acting downwards, and as the fuel gets collected, this will start creating a pressure normal to this surface like this. Now if you resolve these forces, then there is a net vertical force. When this net vertical force is greater than this compression force, this gets lifted up, then the fuel enters into this region. From here the fuel enters into this region. Moment the fuel enters into this region, this force will reduce, this force will increase, so it squeezes the fuel and make the fuel spray, right? That's how the mechanical diesel injector and mechanical fuel element works in a mechanical diesel injection system. So there are videos available on the YouTube. If you can get some of the videos and observe, and you will clearly understand how the system works.
The fuel pump has a plunger and barrel. A rack is fitted to the pump to engage with a pinion machine on the outside of the sleeve. The sleeve fits over the plunger and rotates the plunger as the rack is moved. The plunger reciprocates inside the barrel to pressurize the fuel. The plunger has an oval groove cut on its side. The barrel has ports cut on its side. Fuel enters the pump from the supply system through the inlet connection and floats the fuel chamber surrounding the barrel. When the plunger is at the bottom of its stroke, the fuel flows through the barrel ports within the space. Above the plunger, the vertical slope head of the plunger and the cutaway area. Below the plunger helix. As the plunger moves upward, the barrel ports are covered and compression begins. As the plunger continues to move upward, fuel is discharged through the liquid delivery valve into the high pressure pipe. Fuel delivery stops when the plunger
Now, you see, when it uncovers, it comes out. There it is. That's what I was explaining. Yes. So nowadays we use common rail diesel injection system. So you know that almost the pressure of fuel injected is around 1600 plus bars. You have a common rail, that's why it's called common rail system, and you have a pressure regulator to maintain that constant pressure. So you have a pump which takes the fuel, raises the pressure to such a high value and pushes the diesel into this common rail which maintains that high pressure. So depending on the firing order, from here the fuel flows into the fuel injector and then the fuel is injected into the cylinder. So the ECU will decide based on the firing order how much fuel should be injected and to which cylinder it should be injected. This is what exactly ECU is going to decide. Now, in a traditional diesel engine, we have a difficulty. If you look at the pressure versus crank angle diagram of the diesel engine, so air is compressed. Somewhere at this point, before the top dead center, you start injecting the fuel. Then what happens is, as soon as the fuel is injected, it will not ignite. This is what you call it as the ignition delay period. Ignition delay. So ignition delay period. During this period, whatever fuel that is injected gets accumulated in the combustion chamber region. Somewhere at this point, a flame front will appear. The moment flame front appears, there is a lot of fuel to consume. Because of that, a pressure wave sets up. So the combustion is not smooth. After that, if you continue to inject the fuel, it will consume and the combustion will become smooth. So this is what really happens in diesel engines. So we maintain high compression ratio, so that the air temperature is quite high, pressure is high, so this ignition delay period should be less. But we cannot go on increasing very high compression ratio, because that the piston becomes quite heavy. Because of this kind of pressure wave setting up, sometimes you call it as diesel knock. That's why the engine runs quite rough. Now we can, since we have the electronic injection system, so the main thing that we can do is, okay, we start injecting the fuel at this point, correct, till a flame front enters. What you can call it as, simply you can have a pilot injection. We need not continue to inject. So you can have a small spray of the fuel and wait till it ignites. Correct. Once the flame front is established, then probably you have the main injection system, so that this we can avoid accumulation of large quantity of fuel and all that fuel getting ignited at once, so that we can avoid diesel knock, that leading to rough running of the engine and inter vehicle. And that is what exactly we can achieve with the common rail diesel injection system. So using these sensors, we can send when to open, how long to open, and so that it will decide what is the quantity of fuel to be injected. Then again, it can also sense whether the flame front has appeared or not, maybe by measuring the pressure and temperature. And again, then after that, it can complete the cycle. So that is a greatest advantage with the common rail diesel injection system we can have. Moreover, the pressure will be quite high, 1600 bar and all that. So that what is going to happen, we can have these droplets very, very, very small. So, and better mixing, better vaporization can happen. Maybe we can have reduced particulate emission. These are the advantages of this. Okay, right. I think I've written here around 1600 bar, much higher pressures also they are talking about. That's what I meant by pilot injection and post injection, promote soot oxidation. All these words I have already used. So this is the kind of pump that normally they use. This is the fuel. Of course, it will be rotating and reciprocating type. Here the reciprocating, this will be rotating. And this yellow colored one is the fuel. That fuel you see here gets in. Again, due to reciprocal motion, it gets pressurized. That high pressure fuel will be coming out here. There is excess fuel that comes back. Okay, this is driven by the, pump is driven by the engine. Okay, you can see some animation on YouTube to know how exactly it works. Right, the high pressure fuel will be coming out. So that's what I said, it is around 1600 to 1700 kind of bar pressure. So now this high pressure fuel will get into the nozzle here. You see here, as soon as the fuel comes, it fills the nozzle. All these regions. There is a spring over here which is exerting pressure, keeping this hole closed. Now as the fuel, now what happens if you send from ECU an electrical signal, now it will pull this up. This will move up, this will move up, this will also move up. Then this opens up, then this fuel will get into that, sprays out. Once the duty cycle is over, again the signal is supplying the electric power is stopped here, and this spring will push this back into its position. So that's how common rail fuel system injector works, right? Okay, so you can play the videos on the YouTube and you can understand, right? So this is about something diesel injection system. So on automobiles, cars, you must have seen, these are some of the acronyms you must have seen. So I just written down what they mean. IVTech, intelligent valve timing and lift electronic control. VTVT, variable timing valve train. VDI, variable direct injection. VVTI, variable valve timing with intelligence. TDCI, turbo diesel common rail injection. Linear direct injection. TDI, turbocharged direct injection. VDI, variable direct injection. DDIS, dual digital injection system. Gasoline direct injection, that is GDI. SDI, suction diesel direct engine. IDTech, intelligent diesel technology electronic control. CDI, capacitor discharge ignition. So these are some of the technology when they adopt, they would display on their vehicle models. So that is about diesel injection. So let us stop at this point. In the next session, let us understand the combustion of once the fuel air is supplied to the engine cylinder, and if it is ignited, then how exactly the combustion process happens. That we will study in the next lecture. Now, thank you.